That's right. Welcome and welcome back, everybody, to a Golden is Thy Fame edition of the Always Irish Show. As always, you can find this program on YouTube. Do hit subscribe if you haven't yet. I'd appreciate that very much. Give the video a thumbs up. I'd appreciate that as well. Twitter, search bar Always Irish or at Always Irish Inc. Audio only, anywhere you want me. You can get me emails, alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. 312-988-15. Let's talk spring practice. Let's talk recruiting and everything in between. Always Irish Radio, 312-988-15. Later this week, let's speak. So, I'm in a good mood. It's Masters Week, my favorite sporting week of the year. I got the green jacket on for that reason, and just because I'm in a darn good mood about Marcus Freeman right now. So, this show in particular, if you like me being happy, John, you're going to like it. But I also got to go the other way with some of this stuff. So if you're somebody who likes tuning into this show to see John lose his mind about something, stay tuned. It's going to be mostly good, but there's some of this that I'm just telling you now, stick around and I'm going to lose it. So for those of you that like that aspect of this show, stick around to the back end and we'll get there. All right? Here we go. So if you're following Notre Dame media at all on social media or following me or looked at the community tab where I posted a picture late last week, if you've seen any of this Notre Dame social media stuff recently, you will know five-star quarterback Dante Moore was in town last week for a Notre Dame visit. We were told he was going to get the red carpet treatment. Then the pictures got posted from the visit that most of you have seen. And if you haven't, go to my channel and hit the community. You'll see it. It'll pop right up. You don't even have to go to Twitter or Facebook or any of that. I posted it, right? When you look at these photos, you see clearly just how modern and just how creative Marcus Freeman is getting in terms of recruiting. The gold bar chair, the Heisman, all of it. I absolutely love it 100%. How much did I love it? This is how much I loved it. When I first saw this floating around on Twitter, I was so dumbfounded by the complete awesomeness of this scene that I actually tweeted. I am one who's very rarely ever at a loss for words. It took me a few minutes to figure out what to say. It was awesome. This is modern. It's creative. I just love every single thing about this recruiting bit, pitch, whatever you want to call it. I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. When you think what is meant by the phrase hashtag the Freeman factor, this is it. This is it. All last year when I'm doing these shows, dealing with Kelly, and I'm tweeting the hashtag the Freeman factor in my mind, whatever's left of it. When I say the Freeman factor and I picture what that practically translates to, what that practically looks like, this is it. This is a premier example of exactly what I mean when I say the Freeman factor. It's modern age recruiting, finding a way to appeal to these top athletes without simply writing a blank check, BS, bogus NIL deal. All right? This was awesome. This is just, it's just so perfect, right? Here's a key point with this. And I think this might be overall the most important point of this immediate discussion. Even if we end up not getting Dante Moore for whatever reason, it won't be due to lack of effort in this recruitment. It will not be lack of effort. It will not be lack of communication. It will not be for lack of finding creative ways to recruit and appeal to these guys. It won't be that lack of outward public-facing effort by the head coach. This is a 100% opposite dynamic of what we had before under Brian Kelly. That makes a huge perceptual difference to me. Angles like this recruiting effort, specifically with the Gold Throne, that's why Marcus Freeman's the head coach. That's why he's here. Even if it doesn't pay off with Dante Moore, this kind of relentless, creative, modern effort will pay off in the long run, and I have no doubt about it. I have no doubt about it. I can actually physically see Freeman and Reese putting in the work and the effort. They literally posted online, publicly on social media. With Kelly, you were always wondering, where the hell is he at in these major recruitments with the elite of the elite guys? I don't have that concern now. I can see, physically see the effort these guys are putting into recruiting these top-end players. That gives me comfort. Even if it didn't work out with Dante Moore, it might. Everybody thinks it's going to. Even if it didn't, this kind of concept of how to approach these guys is going to pay off. We're just swimming in a different pool. And it's a big perceptual difference between this and Kelly. It just is. And I'm not trying to downgrade Kelly. I tell this all the time. He did a lot of nice things. But this was one major piece missing that he couldn't figure out that this guy already has. Oh, John, what if you don't get him? I already covered that. Yes, it would suck. Yes, we'll be frustrated. But knowing that this is how far they're willing to go to get creative and modern and hip and cool and create all this social media buzz and everybody saying how cool this was, not even in the Notre Dame circle. National college football guys are going, wow, look at this. This is a badass recruiting effort here. Look at this. That all matters, you guys. It all matters, and it all matters much more than this one guy who took those pictures. This is signifying a big wholesale change in what this recruiting effort's going to look like in the modern era. Okay? I can see these guys putting in the work. If we don't get a guy, I'm no longer going to say how much of it is he just wanted to go to somewhere else, and how much of it was our coach didn't put the time in to make the kid feel special, make the player and his family feel unique and special and wanted here. I'm not going to have that question. So, Freeman is handling recruiting exactly how I think it should be handled by Notre Dame in the modern era. There's a trickle-down effect. These picks are making the rounds like wildfire. National guys love it. Other recruits are seeing it going, man, that's cool. Man, that's cool. Notre Dame is getting modern and slick, and I can't believe I'm saying it, borderline cool and hip. And those are things that nobody could say about Notre Dame in my lifetime. The only time hip is ever brought up is if somebody breaks one yelling at me to sit down at the stadium. So, personally, love this 100%. This one unique recruiting effort personifies everything I mean when I say the Freeman factor. This is it. This is exactly it. Love it 100%. Now, let's transition for better or worse. Because this is Notre Dame football, And no matter what happens, what decisions made, what happens good or bad or in the middle, somebody's going to complain about something. Usually it's me. This time it isn't. I got to call some people out. I have no choice. You people leave me no choice. But I got to call some of you out right now. On social media, after these pictures were posted, most people, including myself, made a big deal about how awesome it was. Top to bottom, amazing effort. Amazing recruiting bit. This was. I put all my stuff out after 20 minutes of just staring at it, smiling, saying, yes, this is it. Marcus Freeman gets it. And I want to repeat. Me sitting there looking at it going, this dude just gets it. How you got to approach this at Notre Dame. It wasn't just about Dante Moore. This represents the entire new age modern recruiting wave by Notre Dame. This is all much bigger than this one guy. And I want to make sure everybody knows that. This is a little insight into just how creative they're going to get, right? So I post saying how great this is. Sure enough, 10 minutes later, my direct messages and my emails, a lot of people were saying this is great. I love it. John, this must be what you mean by the Freeman factor, and it exactly is. But I got a bunch of messages. I'd say probably a dozen and a half between direct messages on Twitter and emails of people who, over the years, ripped Brian Kelly for lack of elite recruiting effort, and now they're ripping Marcus Freeman for this gaudy, tasteless, desperate, over-the-top recruiting ploy. Now, I tweeted that I couldn't believe some people were saying that this offends them and that they're embarrassed to support Notre Dame if they would go this far to recruit a guy and all that. I don't understand. I don't understand what you people want. You don't get to have it both ways. You were mad at Brian Kelly because he wasn't getting enough elite recruiting done. He's gone. This guy comes in here, is trying to do exactly what you wanted. And now it's too much. The chair's too gold. And that offends some people. You don't get to have it both ways. Kelly wasn't doing enough. Now you're telling me this guy's doing too much. You don't get to have it both ways. You don't. Notre Dame is not ever getting in the business of writing a blank check NIL deal. That being said, Marcus Freeman has to thread the needle of maintaining Notre Dame's values, appealing to these high-end elite athletes, and not just going down the path of we're going to write you a check. A effort like the Golden Throne does exactly that. And I got people offended. It's too gaudy. It's too gold. It comes off too desperate. Who's this kid to get to sit on a gold throne already? He hasn't even played here. All of that. All of that. You guys are out of your minds and you're totally out of touch. You're totally just out of touch. It doesn't matter. If you find this over the top or gaudy or desperate or whatever, the recruits like it. This stuff matters to them. Keep that in mind. This stuff isn't geared towards you, Boomer Bobby. It's not geared towards you. The recruits like it. We all agree the last guy didn't do a good enough job at this. This guy's trying his best with something genius. And I got these Notre Dame old heads offended, clutching their pearls because he sat in a gold chair. That's too much to you? I can't handle it. I can't deal with you. I can't deal with you. Stop following college football then. If you can't handle this recruitment effort and it's way too much and offensive to you, you're done with college football then. It's passed you by. It's passed you by. All right? This kind of effort is what it now takes to make an impression on these top guys. It doesn't matter what you think or what I think. The players like it. You're not winning anything without the best players, period. You wanted the opposite of Kelly in recruiting. You got it. Now it's too much because the chair has too much gold. I can't take you seriously. It's got to be the same people tell me to sit down at the ball game. It has to be. You can't make these people happy. Kelly wasn't doing enough. Now this guy's doing too much. You can't win. You can't win with that mentality. Get over yourself. Nobody wants us to write those blank check NIL deals. This is threading the needle between Kelly's way hands-off approach and writing big money deals. He's threading the needle beautifully. All right? As long as Freeman doesn't sacrifice Notre Dame's core value system for recruiting, which he won't, it's all good. Embrace this. Embrace it. If it seems over the top to you, get over it. Get over it. This is Notre Dame's best approach to thread the needle and land these guys. It's what we need, it's what we all wanted, and it's what we have. Quit complaining about it. Now, here's the one argument that was made to me that made me more mad than anything else. Long-time Notre Dame fan, family went there, he went there, kids went there, old-timer, emails me all the time saying, John, Newt Rockne would be rolling over in his grave if he saw this recruiting effort with the Golden Throne. This is a person who needs to do their Notre Dame research and their Newt Rockne history. Okay? Nobody was more of a sports marketer in Newt Rockne's time than Newt Rockne. He invented a lot of this marketing and promotional stuff. This is a guy who had Studebaker build the Rockne brand Studebaker. This is a guy who died flying to Hollywood on Western Air Flight 599, going to Hollywood to make a movie about Notre Dame, to promote it, to market it, and the plane went down. This is a guy who realized, you don't want to just stay in the Midwest. I want Notre Dame to go into New York and LA and get our brand known there. And this, we're talking 20s and early 30s. Okay? So the worst argument of all this is how much Newt Rockne would be rolling over in his grave of us doing this marketing and promotional bit. Nobody was on the forefront of that more than Newt Rockne. So much so, the plane went down, going to LA to film The Spirit of Notre Dame as a promotional marketing tool for the university. Never made it that far. Unfortunately, never made it that far. But that is the worst argument by far. Nobody would love this more than Newt Rockne. The ultimate marketer and promoter, well ahead of his time. Well ahead of his time. He had Studebaker build a car, and it was called the Rockne. It was called the Rockne. Okay? So you need to do your research if you think he would be the one rolling over in his grave about us finding innovative and modern and creative ways to market and advertise what Notre Dame could be for you. Worst argument I've heard by far. So if you think this is over the top, too much, tacky, whatever, the game's passed you by. Stuff like this is Notre Dame's best chance to land these guys short of writing fat checks, and it's never going to happen. And I don't want us to go there. But this is the middle ground between Kelly doing next to nothing, where the top quarterbacks in a recruiting class barely talk to him, and flat out paying guys. This is threading the needle in the middle ground area where Notre Dame can live and operate and prosper. Okay? So you need to get over yourself. If you think this is too much and you're offended, the game's passed you by. Quit, watch it. Quit, watch it. All right? I'm usually the negative Nancy Notre Dame YouTube guy, right? That was my bit the whole Kelly era. And it's because he gave me no choice. Now, this is the best I've felt about the program since Lou Holtz was doing his thing. Not even at the end, but when it was still right up there at the top. Okay? This is the best I've felt. Marcus is on the right track here 100%. He gets it. He gets it. He knows what he could do here to make this work. And he's doing a great job so far. So, like I said, keep in mind, even if Dante Moore ends up going somewhere else, that's going to hurt. But you got to look at the bigger picture. You have to look at that gold throne setup just as a template of the kind of creativity that is being displayed in the recruiting office now that you couldn't have dreamed of the last 11 years. This guy gets it. He's on the right track. I love it 100%. And Notre Dame's going to be back. Talk to you later.